Hi guys, it's Bob here. The first live stream in probably, I think I might be right in saying 4 weeks. So hopefully we'll have a few people on tonight, make some comments, and keep the conversation flowing. At the moment, there's nobody there. I'm hoping that, and one has appeared now, and I'm wondering who that is. We'll see if they make a comment. So if it is somebody I know, let me know who you are. Give us a comment, give us a reaction, see where we go. So what's been happening over the past few weeks? Oh, hi Charles. What's been happening over the past few weeks? Well, the government is still shit, which we already knew anyway, and nothing much has changed. Lockdown rules keep changing backwards and forwards, and I got myself a set of new knives from a good pal of mine, Wayne, who very kindly sent me 3-edged weapons. He knew I have a penchant for the old weapons. Charles says there's a delay, and there probably is. Probably about. Hiya Craig, how you doing, mate? Probably about a 10-second delay. I think I've got it on the optimum settings, and I don't think there's any way we can get away with this delay. It's plugged in direct to the internet. It's on a high quality fast streaming camera with ultra low latency, which means it should be quick. Oh, no delay there, mate. All good. Maybe it's caught up. So yeah, so lots been happening over the past couple of weeks. I've been doing a ton of work at Chester University, clinical education, as well as Wolverhampton, and there's more of that work where it comes from. So hopefully I shall be rich. And Darren is again from sunny Saudi Arabia. Well, it's not sunny here, Darren, I tell you. It's absolutely pissing it down. I don't know whether you can say pissing on YouTube, but I just have twice. So, it's nice as three of you already on. I dare say there's going to be a few more as the time progresses. So if you've got any comments, anything you want to have a chat about, I'm happy to do that. In the meantime, maybe I should show you one of my beauties. I don't know whether you appreciate knives or not, but this is Indonesian. And it looks quite old. I got it off a good friend of mine, Wayne Hubble, who I've been doing a lot of NLP with, mainly NLP for business, his business specifically. He also gave me this, which belonged to his old Pencak Silat teacher, which is very amazing. It's a really old blade, as you can see. It's got some carvings on this amazing handle. And Justin heard pissing. That's the third time I've said it. So if you're into beautiful edged weapons, as I am, then you might appreciate that. It's got all sorts of engravings. I don't know if you can see that. Engravings on the actual sheath itself. So there it is, an Indonesian knife stroke sword. Very good, very good. And I got a modern one off him as well, made by a company called Stainthorpe. bit of a beast. I don't know why I like edge weapons, but I do, and I don't intend using them. Well, at least I don't think so. And they'll go to when I'm long gone, my sons can have them and they can flog them or whatever they want to do with them. So, yeah, it's pouring down in Birmingham. It's sunny in Saudi Arabia, and I'm going to assume, Justin, it's pouring down in Cumbrawn as well. What about Craig in Coventry? So we don't want to be talking about the weather all night, though, do we? Maybe we want to talk about something more interesting. Meditation group's going really well. We had a good turnout last night. Quite an interesting chat. Tom McLaughlin, our very own Tom, was on. Talking about his experience of doing a 2-day retreat. It was something that I put to everybody. Why not have a retreat one weekend? We'll all do it together. And Tom was the only one who wanted to do it, sadly. So he did it himself, and he came back with regaled us with comments and observations and how he felt it had improved his ability to stay aware of what was going on, not just around him, but what was going on in here on a sort of minute by minute basis, which I guess I already sort of knew anyway. I haven't done many retreats myself in the past. The longest being 7 days, which was in Northumberland, Throstle Hall Priory, where I did a thing called Jukai, where you're given a Japanese name at the end of it. Very fascinating. So, got 5 of you on at the moment. I'm assuming the 5th one, who hasn't commented, is probably going to be Tina. She'll be hiding or lurking in the background, observing what's going on. So, if you've got anything you'd like to start talking about, then please drop a comment in the comment box and we can discuss that subject. Failing that, hopefully, I think quite a few of you have seen my latest blog post, which was more or less the history of Muay Thai and its connections to Sela, Chaya, the Chupa Sart, and Dimui. Little mention was made of Muay culture because it was only a small blog post. I couldn't really go into any depth. But if people want me to do a more in-depth sort of discussion of, Muay Baran, Sela, any of that sort of stuff, then, just get in touch with me. Let me know in the comment box down here, and I can get something written down. I also got a couple of saris off him as well. Indonesian weapons and batik saris. I should have put one on tonight maybe and swan around the house so you could see me. That'd be a scary prospect, wouldn't it? The podcasts are going well. Good old Justin's 3rd podcast has just gone live yesterday. Hopefully some of you saw it. I think it was yesterday, Justin. I don't know what response you've had from it yet because I haven't checked them. And a podcast with Simon Gray, who's a good friend of mine, who wrote the book Suck It Up or Go Home, about his experiences living in Japan, giving everything up here, literally everything. I'm moving to Japan and training on the Sen Sushi course, which is arguably one of the toughest martial arts courses in the world. The Tokyo Riot Police use it. So he's also a BJJ guy, but he was actually also a very, very good Thai boxer. Back in the day, he fought one of my fighters, Colin Armstrong. I don't know whether you remember that fight, Justin, with Simon Gray and Colin Armstrong. Probably would have been in Birmingham, could have been in Manchester, not 100% sure where it was. We used to go to that many shows back in the day when I was young and fit and able to run around from literally judging to the referee to the MC to the cornerman. The happy golden days of Muay Thai. On another note, what else has been happening here? Some podcasts with my mate Heiko. And I'm just writing lots and lots of stuff into the 5th chapter now of my book, which is called Beyond Beliefs, which is going to be the backdrop to a 2-day course. It's going to be on Sundays. The dates to be confirmed are called the Pyrrho Protocol. So we're going to be looking at using pyrrhonism, Zen, Taoism, skepticism as a tool for personal development, I guess you could call it that. I hate the word, but I guess that's the only word you can use for it. So you can live your life in a more fulfilling and vibrant way. Maybe I should form a cult. Many people have called me that. Darren, I just watched, I'm assuming you're talking about Justin's thing. He does look younger, doesn't he? Bit of a bugger, isn't he? He is the Peter Pan of Prior Pichai. Now that's actually got a lot of P's in it. Yeah, the Prior Pichai Peter Pan phenomenon. Well, phenomenon is a P, so I got away with that. You can't say phenomenon. So he is the phenomenon of the Peter Pan syndrome within the Prior Pichai. Yeah. Come on, think of a P. My brain's buzzing now. You can probably hear it as I sit here. So, I know Craig's been up to some stuff with his memory training and so on. I'm assuming Justin's making millions out of his engineering company. And obviously Darren is obviously now some sort of amazing Welsh sheikh out in Saudi Arabia, probably driving around in a couple of Rolls Royces. Who knows? And Charles has gone off the screen, but I'm sure you're still there. Now we have 7 people. So reveal yourselves. Julia said it was very good. She's my biggest fan and worst critic. Yeah, it was. It was a good podcast. It was very interesting. And part 4 will be even better. I have part 4 of Simon Gray to deliver soon. Well, I'm recording it tomorrow and delivering it sometime in the future. Matt was also on, Matt Caulfield. Hiya Paul. Paul's just joined us. Matt Caulfield was on talking about Zen, NLP and a host of other things. Some of you know Matt. He used to train with us in Birmingham back in the 90s. So he's been around a while, but he's now sired with 2 children and lives in the marvellous Monmouth, and is also a relative Peter Pan. So you've got somebody catching up with you, Justin. So topics to discuss. You know me. Try and catch me out. I'm sure you can, and we'll see where we go from there. I'm sure everybody knows what's going on with the pandemic, so I'd rather we didn't talk about that crap. The universities are back. I'm just waiting to hear about whether we're going to start the Thai boxing back at Birmingham University. I'd be a bit gutted if it didn't, because it's like been 36 years since I set up that club, and this will be the only year that we've missed, if that's actually what happens. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I booked in for another hip operation, so see if I'll get away with that. Hopefully that will happen at some point in the near future. Get a new hip and I'll be able to kick people in the head all over again, which would be good. And I'll be able to bang my old knees in and even be able to walk properly, probably. So what's up, guys? You tell me. I'll end up talking about weapons, I can guarantee that. I've got 9 people, and be good to see who those 9 are. I think there's about 7 of you so far have revealed yourselves. I understand if you don't want to. That's cool as well, but why not make a comment? Just say where you're from, who you are, and what do you want to talk about. That's the idea of a live stream. Otherwise, I'm going to talk about books and other shit that I've been buying. So what recent addition have I got to the library? Well, I was sold a lie. This book seemed to be like a really good idea by Greg Good, and he does post on the pyrrhonism Facebook page, which it was Doug Bates, which is brilliant. And this was a bit of a disappointment, really. Maybe I should give it a bit of time. It's certainly not about pyrrhonism. It's about Vedanta and Advaita, sort of yoga type stuff. And he's talking about dissolving belief, radical approach to discover the non-dual nature of the world. You know, that's what sold it on me, the fact it was going to be about non-duality. So, anyway. Oh, and Smudge, would you ever make a walking commentary MP3? That's probably not a bad idea, except I wouldn't know where you were going. You know what I mean? Yeah, actually, you know what I'll do? I'll have a think about that, Smudge, and maybe that would be a good idea. I will even write it down so I don't forget. And I might actually do another blog post on commentary walking in a little bit more depth, because it's something that's pretty close to my heart, as it were. In fact, as far as I was concerned, I think I was the only one teaching it back in the 80s. I don't think anybody else even talked about it. Now it's all the rage. And the same with the NLP. I think I was one of the earliest people to get into NLP, and I tried to marry it with the martial arts, and no one was interested. Now every bugger's doing it. Every man and his dog, I dare say. But there you go. That's progression, isn't it, for you? So yeah, Smudge, I'm going to do that. You pay good money. Ooh. I normally give these things away. Let me have a think about it, Smudge. But yeah, I've written it down. I will do something on it next week. I might write a new blog post and then drop an MP3 on there for people to have a look at. I have care. You made it. I know you're probably still in the Czech Republic, haven't driven 48 hours, but hey, good man. Craig, been coaching a few on memory. Good. One has 2 exams and less study time, working on some coaching ideas for classes, for mindset, and study anxiety and using memory more effectively. Yeah, so any of you guys on here, if you've got exams or anything you're interested in learning and retaining that information, speak to Craig Galvin. Okay, if you don't get him on here, which he is, he's in the comment box, get in touch with me and I'll pass your name on to him. He's a good lad. He studied NLP with me, but he was already NLPing anyway, so it was just a matter of jumping through the hoops. So yeah, get in touch with Craig. Improve your memory with Mr. Galvin, the Galvin method. Let's galvanize your memory. Maybe you can use that as a slogan. Galvanizing the memory with Craig Galvin. Yeah, you're right, Craig. I think don't listen to it while you're out. It would maybe it could be a virtual. So what we need to do, Smudge, is put a camera on your head with a direct link to me, and I'll talk the commentary. Now that would cost you something, but I'd be happy to do it. That would be an amazing idea. So headphones on, and a camera on your head, and I shall talk through what's going on around you. To my left, I see a small child crossing the road and a man walking up towards the child with a dog. The dog is black and white and has 3 legs on the right-hand side of the pavement, and it is a pavement. It's made of slabs, some of which look loose. The floor underneath is wet and the sky is blue. Yeah, that would be good, wouldn't it? Commentary walking. I remember doing a speed awareness test. When I, obviously, rather than get the points, I did the speed awareness test, and I think out of 21 things, I think I got 17 or 18. And the guy said, "Have you done advanced driving before?" And I said, "No, I do commentary walking." And I think he was impressed. I think there was another dickhead on the course who wasn't impressed at all. Some young lad who didn't pass anyway. He got chucked off. Imagine getting chucked off a speed awareness course because you're a prick. But he was a prick. And if he's watching, you're a prick. He's unlikely to be watching though. So Murray, welcome aboard. And yeah, so yeah, why not? Why not tune in? I should do some sort of mind meld with you, Smudge, so we can connect sort of viscerally through the air or something. Who knows, eh? And yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean, Smudge. So we could do, actually, you could do some hypnotic induction to improve the memory. Hey, what do you say about that? I know you've got thoughts on that, Craig. This is a shame this is not a talking. We could have a proper discussion. So let's carry on. This has been quite interesting. Absolute sham. I knew he was going to say that. Yes, absolute sham. There's a lot of people selling NLP out there. Be warned. I'm sure you lot are more intelligent, but people are selling NLP on the basis, I think it's called New Code NLP, on the basis, I believe the initials of one of the gentlemen involved is MC. I'll say no more. And basically saying that NLP will help you deal with COVID, will help you deal with viruses, will help you deal with bacterial infections. It's absolute bollocks, okay? Absolute bollocks. But people believe the shit they want to believe, and then when it doesn't work, they'll make excuses for it. We've seen it happen all the time, and you know what my thoughts are on belief systems anyway. They're pointless. Hence the book Beyond Beliefs. So what lies beyond beliefs? Well, you need to read the book. Maybe it is awareness. Maybe it is non-duality. Who knows? The plot thickens. I'm up to chapter 5 anyway, and I've got another 7 chapters. 7 chapters to do. I've based the 12 chapters around a Chinese story. about that. It's a Taoist thing. I'll say no more. Craig says, training the brain, Bob. Do a video of a trip out, then add in the commentary after as a learning tool for what you notice. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. I've done this with commentary driving with people back in the day, training people how to drive more effectively and efficiently and defensively. So it's the same process. So, and saw someone who called themselves an NLP practitioner on Instagram. Well, they probably are. There's a lot of them around now. A lot of them are quite scary because you can do these online courses now, so you don't even have to be in touch with a human being, which is obviously what me and Craig have done a lot of. And I must have seen thousands of clients over the years. And that was just in order to get to practitioner and master practitioner level. And you know, there's no big deal about it. It's the same as a lot of qualifications now. People just buy them. So anybody can call themselves an NLP practitioner. It's quite sad, but that's where it is. And remember, NLP is not a thing. It's just an attitude. It's just a tool. It's something we use as part and parcel of everyday communication. And to some extent, if you're a good communicator, you're already using the tools. Somebody like me or Craig can come in and help you tweak those tools, make them more effective, more efficient. And that's all it's about. And it takes training. Sadly, people are after a quick fix. And in some cases, a quick fix does work. But in a lot of cases, you got to put some work in. And Craig will agree with me on that, I think. Craig says, Groupon, do them for 10 quid. Bloody hell, that saved myself £1,980 then. Back in the day, obviously. Yeah, the danger is working with real clients with real issues and these clowns not having a clue and doing more harm than good, yeah. And there's quite an interesting thread, if people want to follow it, is Andrew Austin, who is by far one of the best NLP. Well, he's not even an NLP person, let's get that clear. He wrote a fantastic book called The Rainbow Machine many, many years ago, and he's moved on to all sorts of other material now, metaphors for movement and so on. A very intelligent guy. And he's been getting some shit from the bizarre NLP community, which have turned into evangelical zealots in my book. NLP is no longer the animal it once was. It started changing in the 90s anyway, and is now propagated by idiots, buffoons, bigots, hypocrites, the worst kind of religious people you could imagine. And that's what they've become, fundamentalists. It's another religion. It's quite scary. Anthony Robbins is the leader of one particular cult, along with many other cults that claim personal development, but actually all they're doing is claiming a stake on how much money you've got in your wallet. So be aware of these things. You'll come off the courses feeling good for about a couple of days, and then life is shit again. Okay? Because that's what life is. Or is it? That's all based on your perceptions. Yeah, Craig says 12 years in and still learning every day. Yeah, you cannot not learn from Andy Austin. That's absolutely true. He's a good guy. Very, very good guy. So, yeah, buyer beware. If you want to talk NLP or any of those sort of things, speak to Craig or me. And we'll hopefully put you on the right track. A track that shouldn't cost you an arm and a leg and your mortgage on your house. Or, in fact, even your your sense of who you are. But that's... Never mind. I won't even go there. Groupon, eh? Maybe I should have jumped on that bandwagon. 10 quid for an NLP course. That's amazing. You can't buy a decent book on NLP for less than 10 quid. But if you want to have a look at some NLP in action, check out some of Bandler's stuff, Andy Austin's stuff. Michael Breen was really good back in the day. I don't know whether Michael's still about. But there's certain people you need to steer clear of. Yeah, hypnosis, powerful tool. Won't get rid of COVID. but has its uses. Another powerful tool. If you think I've just come up with the word hypnosis out the edge, just Craig's mentioned hypnosis. So, Kay, what's it like in the Czech Republic? Kay drove for 2 days from Belgium, Ghent, all the way to the Czech Republic for essentially a conference, because he couldn't fly there and didn't want to let people down, because he's that kind of guy. Yeah, glass half full or glass half empty type of person. The most important thing is to remember is that the glass is refillable. I haven't got a glass. I think that's even easier than you don't have to worry about filling it or unfilling it. Get rid of the glass. That's what I did. As a Geordie, that's a bit weird, like, because there's nowhere to put my beer now. So I drink it out of the bottle. Bottle half full, bottle half empty. Oh, so you've had snow in the Czech Republic. Oh, weather's changing in Central Europe then. So it's not long before we have bad weather. I'll warrant. Yeah, it's as I was saying earlier on, guys. It's been a bit of a busy week. I'm still waiting for my Angelo broadsword to come. I ordered it last August. Beset with problems, not the pandemic aside. The poor guy had a car crash. The swordsmith who's making them, and I think he's got behind with his orders. But it is going to be worth it. Those of you who are interested in swords, you'll have seen a Heiko Grosso, who's he's my mentor for sword training, and he was showing some of his weapons. He had his Taj out and his dirk the other day, and we were talking about how the dirk is used in combat. So, I've got my own views on the dirk and how it could be used, because there's very little actual work written down on how the dirk was used in Highland combat. So I guess there's a few ideas based on the McGregor method, but that's for those of you who are interested in edge weapons, of which I think there's only K. Kay was waiting for the word broadsword in the session. Well, you got the word, and the word is broadsword. Shall I say it again? Broadsword. I can even show you a broadsword, Kay, if that would make you happy. Yes, Craig, I decided I'd flirted and skirted around the European martial arts for years, but never really got involved in it until I had the problems with my back, my hip and my knees. And because I can't knee and kick and move like a Thai boxer for very long periods of time, I thought I'd go back to sword. I've done lots of Japanese sword, lots of edge weapons work, as you know, close range, knives, sticks, particularly cudgels, batons. And I thought, you know what, it's time I had a look at swords. And I've always been interested in sabres, and I've always been interested in broadswords. My family's got a Scottish ancestry, so I thought, why not? Why not pick up a broadsword? So I went online and found the Catran Society. Heiko became my mentor over a year and a half ago now, I believe. And I've been doing broadsword online with him ever since. I've got through virtually all of the system to level 1. So I am in a position to sort of teach it, although I'm not officially a mentor. But I am teaching 1 or 2 guys in the gym, because that means I can practice. So yeah, I hope at some point to open a broadsword academy. That's my intention, to open one in Birmingham, because there's very few. But alongside broadsword, I'm also studying sabre, Polish sabre as well as English sabre, particularly from the Napoleonic period. I'm interested in the work of Rolworth and Angelo. So these are all names that people in the sword, the arena of swords would know. Essentially, these were treatises written by these people. So I'm studying the systems that were written down in the few remaining handbooks that there are. And there's not many of them about. Rolworth, Angelo, MacBain, George Silver, an English guy from the 1600s, who I believe fought with small swords and dirks and daggers. as well as having written a great book on self-defense, the noble art of. So yeah, I've got into them because of the physical problems I had, but I think I would have ended up doing them anyway as I got older. And playing around with a sword in the garden is every boy's dream, isn't it? And I now have 12 of them. Although I have just sold one to my mate John Black. I've sold a Confederate sabre to John because he's a good guy and I owed him something and he wanted a sword, and I thought, well, that's a nice thing to have. Okay, what is it teaching you about yourself through the application, as we all learn? Absolutely. The footwork is not that dissimilar to any of the other martial arts that I've done. Things about distance, about speed, about timing, and I think I've had an advantage over the fact I've done eskrima and Japanese swords for a long time. So picking up an edge weapon, picking up a long weapon in my hand came quite naturally. All I needed to learn were the sequences of moves for a variety of things, such as the broadsword manual and the 10 lessons. And the other interesting thing, and this is in answer to you, Craig, but I'm hoping everybody else will be, be interested in this, is you're sort of discovering a lot about the treatises. Because a lot of stuff wasn't written down, unlike the Asian martial arts. You have to work your way through the treatises to discover what was going on. Often there's no images either. So unlike a lot of kung fu books, for example, or karate or sword, even sword, there's no real drawings of how you should move with the sword or whatever. So a lot of it was written down, so it was descriptive. So you I'm learning to read Old English to a certain extent and make sense of what these people were going through at that time. And that was the other thing. I've learned a lot about the attitude of people 200 years ago. Very, very different type of mindset. Very different type of mindset. Almost like an acceptance of death on the battlefield. These guys go marching into battle with, a musket, a bayonet, a sword, and they would fight. And it was always very, very close contact, close combat. And they would just walk into it. Often they would have a strong sense of honour, but not always. So it's been quite interesting. It's sort of rediscovering the historical aspects of that time, and I've always been interested in history, but it's given me a different take on it, particularly as I say, the Napoleonic era, and it also generated an interest in the rifle as well, particularly the Baker rifle. Which was used by riflemen, which was a new thing at that time, where these guys would be in green as opposed to red, and they would be like the special forces of their day, I guess. They became known as the chosen men, and they would do unusual acts of bravery, but were incredible shots. Some that people might want to look into. There was, in fact, a series of novels written. I think the guy's name is Cornwell. He wrote the Sharp series, which became a series on television as well, which I used to watch incidentally. Not a lot of sword play in it, but nevertheless interesting from a historical point of view about Wellington in the Peninsular Wars, and ultimately Wellington and his men fighting Napoleon, also in France at Waterloo. Is there a sparring concept to the sword? Oh, absolutely, yeah. The ultimate test is to spar, which is what I missed out on because of COVID. Me and my partner Steve from Aldsbury, couldn't come over, so we couldn't spar, and we were trying to take it to the point where we would spar. So we've just started back doing that, getting back into the solo drills, the doubling drills, the different defences. But it's very simple. I think if you've used weapons before, the system is quite simple. It has to be, because it has to work quickly and effectively with soldiers. So it needs the minimum amount of training. You know, simple standard operational procedures for each of the different types of blade. And yeah, lots of sparring. Got myself a new helmet, new gloves. So yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, I've got the gloves, obviously, but I got myself a lovely spanking new helmet for my birthday. Actually, my mother-in-law got it for me. She didn't know she was getting me that, but that's what she got me. A pretty hefty piece of kit, as well as the jacket and the trousers. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. And I also got myself a new single stick, because there's a really big tradition of single stick fighting in the UK and in Europe. And this is a particularly fine example of a leather hilted rattan cane single stick made by Caledonian Customs. It's a lovely bit of kit, lovely bit of leather there. And obviously you practice with the sticks when you're not wearing armour. Some of the sticks are made of ash, which I've got over there. I've got a couple of I've got two of them over there. Me and Jane have been practicing in the garden. Not today, of course, because it's been raining. Yeah, the helmet does look like a cross between a kendo and a fencing helmet, absolutely. And it's heavier, actually. It's a lot tougher than a kendo helmet, I think. I'm not sure, because obviously with kendo you use a shinai against it, but this is safe, I think, for about 600 newton meters. I think it is. No, 350. So this is 350 newton meters. So for those engineers out there, you know that that's a pretty substantial bit of kit. I've also got a gorget thing which protects the neck, because we use thrusting as well. Although thrusting is not used a lot in broadsword, I like to thrust anyway. As you well know, I'll say no more about the thrusting. So it's 37 minutes 15 seconds in, and we've got 8 people on board. I'm quite surprised that we all turned up. It's great. So I've learned a lot from playing with swords. I felt that I've learned quickly as well, because I want to learn it. And I'm a bit like you, Craig. Once I get passionate about something, I'm sorry, but it's just going to take all my time up. And once I've learned one thing, I'll move on to the next. And today this week I've gone back to practicing guitar every day now. So practicing arpeggios and speed picking. Driving Jane up the wall. I've got to keep up with my sons. Both my sons are incredible guitarists, so I've lapsed and I've got to catch up with them. So this next couple of months is going to be devoted to guitar. Lots of it. I mean, I'll still be spending time writing blog posts. I'll still be spending time working as an ace. I'll still spend time in the garden waving a sword about. Because my intention is to get a broadsword academy up and running. Yeah, okay, you're right. The sword practice is good for training the wrist, shoulder, and controlled footwork. I do find it does work the arm, particularly hanging guards, and waving the thing around doesn't half work the shoulders, which is good. It's good. It's part of the body I've not worked in that way for a long time, because the sword is quite heavy. So it does put quite a bit of strain on the old shoulders, but I'm up to 100 cuts easily a day with the different angles. Do you wear the helmet when you haven't done the washing up, just in case Jen wants to practice her strikes? Yeah. No, she won't let me wave the sticks around in the house, Craig. Lightweight, that's what I say. Well, the sticks are lightweight. And if you want to see a waster, i.e. a single stick, a polkati, as the Poles call them, being used, you need to watch Born for the Sabre. I mentioned it before, I mention it again. Born for the Sabre. You'll love it. I know Kay's probably already seen it. I haven't worn it in the bedroom, but you know what? There's a thought. And maybe what I should do is put on the gloves. You know, the old gloves. say, look, beautiful padded gloves, a little bit of protection on the back of the old hand there, but you're protected with a basket hilt sword anyway. It, you know, you have to wear a glove, don't you care, when you have a sword. It just doesn't feel right without a glove. It's a bit like Thai boxing without shorts. Well, by that I mean not without the shorts. You have the shorts on, or you have tracksuit pants. Thai boxing in tracksuit pants or a gi bottom, i.e. karate suit pants, just doesn't cut the mustard. As soon as you put the shorts on, you become a Thai boxer. Fact. As soon as you put the gloves on, you become a swordsman. You become Errol Flynn. Yes, I am. I do have a sword the same size as Errol Flynn's. Yeah. In fact, I have got a lovely file actually, an epee, which I got a short while back. It says falling off camera. There go the swords. There they go the swords. So you see, there you go, good old Errol Flynn style sword. Isn't that beautiful? Yeah, and that is a thrusting weapon. A beautiful thrusting weapon. And it hasn't got a tip on it, which makes it a bit dangerous. I've got to get a tip for it, obviously. So one of the tips is, if you've got a sword without a tip, get a tip for it. That's my tip. And that was my Matt Easton sabre, which is one of my prized possessions, falling to the floor. But it is a sword, so it's meant to take the rough and tumble. So no stick waving indoors, correct? Okay, yes, Kay, the glove is definitely necessary. Or your skin comes off. That's a good point, actually. You do get blisters. Born for the Sabre, great film. I'm glad you've watched it now. Yeah. And they actually accidentally cut each other for real in one of the scenes. Absolutely true. The two brothers who are fighting in one of the big scenes, he actually splits and it's actual real blood. But they carried on filming anyway, because they're mad. They're swordsmen as well as actors. And they're pretty good actors as well, to be fair. Because often my heart shudders to a stop when I see martial artists going into acting. We've all seen how that turns out. Yeah, stick to the martial arts. Acting is a skill set. Just because you can fight doesn't mean you can act. Fact. I spent 3 years training to become an actor. And then you see people... Yeah, I'm not going to say any more. I'll incriminate names. I'll use names. Anyway, some of you who might have read my combat articles back in the day will know my feelings about some of the actors that were in the martial arts at that time. Yeah. Anyway, let's just say Jackie Chan was much better. Absolutely. Great actor, great moves. Tony Jaa, not so much a good actor, but certainly a good stuntman. And yeah. Anyway, right. So we're coming up to the 45-minute mark on the live stream, which means we've got about 15 minutes left to go, guys. And hopefully we haven't had too much of a delay on here. I'm just trying to think if there's any other books that I've bought recently. There is, but I can't remember what they were. What were they? Where did I put them? I don't know. Oh yeah, I think I bought a book on shredding for the guitar. And what else was there? I got the work of Parmenides. I don't even know whether I've shown that book to you guys. Parmenides was a Greek philosopher, quite an interesting character as well. Probably early skepticism, I would have said. Predates Pyrrhon. And the Jacobites, of course. I bought a book on the Jacobites. Why wouldn't you? Really good book, very small print, lots of history. So if you're interested in the Jacobites or the Jacobite cause, maybe you should buy that book. It's called The Jacobites. It's great. And I've already been reading that by the side of my bed, along with Keith Farrell's The Broadsword and Single Stick. So how many books do you lot read at any one time, if at all? I know what Craig's going to say. He'd probably have 3 or 4 on the go because he's just like me. And incidentally, Justin, what did you think of Pyrrho's Way? If you're still reading it, have you finished it? It's a book you can't finish. You have to keep going back to it. Let me know. So I've got 9 people watching, and I'm assuming you've all been on and put a comment. And interestingly enough, my mate Simon Gray's just been on Facebook, and he's asking about who hosts the show. Ah, right. Right. Is your podcast only on YouTube, or is it available on iTunes or Spotify? So it looks like all of the 27 podcasts I'm doing, I'm going to have to, when I get some money, I'm going to have to cash into a podcast, and I have a proper podcast channel. I've got a Podbean channel, but you're only allowed so many podcasts. I think it's only 2. So I'm not able to put the rest on unless I pay, I don't know, 10 quid a month or something. So, oh, you're rereading it? Yeah, you need to. That's what I'm still doing, mate. I'm still finding gems of wisdom in there, which has made me write the book Beyond Beliefs, because there's things that are making me think about in that book that we need to come up with techniques, basically, because I'm curious to know as to how Pyrrho did what he did. It's not explicit, the instructions in outlines, but Tom McLaughlin, who sadly is not on here tonight as far as I know, would have something to say about that, because he spent a weekend, some of which was suspending beliefs using some of the techniques I'm going to be talking about in my book about how to suspend belief and the value of that. Craig buys the dreaded Kindle books. Yeah, I do use Kindle when I'm on the move, but I haven't got I just look at it on my mobile phone, which is about that big, which is awful. But actually, I prefer the old hard books. And incidentally, Justin, if you can get hold of that book, I suggest you do. It's called The Skeptic Way by Benson Mates. It's possibly the best translation of outlines of Pyrrhonism by Sextus Empiricus. Yeah, absolutely brilliant book. Not as good as Doug Bates's, because Doug's it's got a nice, it's a different approach, I guess. But this is an academic who seems to have got his head round understanding what Sextus Empiricus was on about. A very good book. I believe you can get a PDF of it, but you don't get the commentary with it, only the actual translation. So who else uses Kindle? I can't really get into it, because I've always loved having, as you can see behind me and everywhere else in this room, it's just full of books. Yeah, I'll put it in the comments for you. I can do that now. Benson Mates. The Skeptic Way. Yeah, there you go. It's not cheap. It's not cheap. It's mine is a second-hand book. It's pretty hard to get hold of, and mine was discontinued from Nottingham University. And silly prices for a book, but I think a man of your means would be able to afford it. Oh, what's this, Craig? Oh, Simon. Hey, Simon Gray's on. Hey, mate. This is Simon. Everybody, I'll introduce you to Simon. He's the chap in the podcast who wrote the book Suck It Up or Go Home. We were talking about your book earlier on, mate. I keep advertising it. Look, yeah, let's get it down again. Right, so you all need to read that book. Make it a bestseller. Put Simon on the map. It's a true story about the courage to stand up and keep going and never give in. Right, sounds like my life. I'm doing part 4 with Simon tomorrow, and we're coming at the end of the chapter of his time in Japan. So look out for that podcast, guys, because I'm going to be doing it tomorrow and then putting it up next week. So it's good to have you on board, Simon. Yeah, I mean, psycholinguistics, the meaning behind what we say, profile and body language, memory, and going over old ones. I buy the last. I try and pick up physical copies as soon as available. Yeah, psycholinguistics, a lot of good stuff in psycholinguistics. You need to get onto that. There's also a fairly new book that's just come out recently called The Knowledge Illusion. I think it came out about a year ago. Fantastic book. If you haven't read it, Craig, you need to read The Knowledge Illusion. Okay, it's basically going back to what Pyrrho said 2,500 years ago in Greece. What is knowledge? You know. So we'll leave that for another. I think that's a topic of either another podcast with someone or more. And there's more podcasts coming up with Tommy Joe Moore, with Don Heatrick. I've got part 4 to do with Justin. There's going to be some other people on that you may not have heard of. Tom up in Scotland, Langhorne, who's a survivalist, a Highland survivalist. I'm going to have him on. Some old military gents and lots of variation. So yeah, hopefully, Simon, people are buying your book because I keep promoting it, but it is a good read. And everybody's got a story in them, but not probably as good as that. Although I don't know, I'm not sure. Listen, guys, we're sort of coming to the end of this now. We've got about 9 minutes left of the podcast. If there's anything else you'd like to have a chat about, anything you want me to discuss, flash some of my weapons about, who knows? Yeah, I'll put it in the comments, and it's quite cheap. It's a paperback. The Knowledge Illusion, very interesting book, written by a couple of neuroscientists. Yeah. Ooh. I don't know why I put K there. Oh, Knowledge Illusion. Yeah, I know what happened there. So, if everybody's happy and we have nothing else to add, just like to thank you guys for coming on. We've got 10. That's not bad by this time of night. I'm going to try and do the live streams more regular, but it's been quite difficult, what with working in Chester, and the university's starting to give me more and more work. I've already just picked up another job today on the PA program, which is good because I need to recoup my losses for the past 6 months. I've got more swords to buy when I get wealthy again. So if there is nothing to add, don't want to have any dead air on here. I can't think of anything else I need to talk about. I've managed to keep talking for an hour, and I'm looking around for different things. I know Craig might appreciate this. If you haven't already got one, Craig, for your guitar, you need to get that. It's a fantastic pedal, right? Absolutely brilliant. So those of you who play guitar, particularly electric guitar, that is a great bit of kit. It's a pedal, it's a looper, it has 100 different effects. Not as good as an actual pedal like a wah-wah pedal or whatever, but it does the job and it drives my neighbours up the wall. Oh yeah, and Murray's just reminded me, Murray says the meditation group on Tuesdays. You know, you guys, if you want to come on the meditation group on Tuesday night, it's been running now since March. Still a good little group together, around 8 to 10 mark. People come and go and then come back. It's informative, it's funny, particularly if Tom McLaughlin's on with Pete Gorman. And we discuss all sorts of subjects. Yesterday we meditated for 20 minutes and then talked about acceptance and how far you should go with that. We've talked about morality, we've talked about ethics, we've talked about Black Lives Matter, we've talked about everything. And all of it being relevant, obviously, to the process of focusing the mind. So, yeah, you know, if you don't get a newsletter from us, just drop me your email address and we'll put you on the newsletter list. I'm not going to spam you, not going to sell you data. And if you don't want to subscribe, you just come straight off the list. If you go on Facebook on the Higher Way code, I think you can get access to some of the landing pages there and sign up on there, and we'll take your details and put you on the list. I've got a number of events going on which are based around meditation and philosophy over the coming year, and hopefully the launch of my book by Christmas, I would think. Because of all the work that's come in, I've not had a chance to get on top of the book, but it is a work in progress, just like a lot of other things I'm doing. So 6 o'clock Tuesdays, and I'm sure you're all interested. You can do meditation now. Well, on Tuesday night anyway, 6 p.m. Try to do your best not to forget that. Not forget that time, 6 p.m. You can see it in your mind's eye. 6 p.m. Tuesday. I'm not doing anything. I must meditate. Is this the meditation group you were thinking of? Maybe it is. So, okay guys, with 4 minutes to go, I think it's time to wrap things up. I shall say goodbye for now, and sign off on the hour. So let's see your comments. Let's all say goodbye. And yeah, Craig, drop in. It's a laugh. Yeah, cheers, Justin. Sawadee Cap, Cup Kun Cap. A little bit of time there. Drop that in. Buonanotte to my Italian friends, and buonasera, which is probably a bit more, bit posher. So see you guys later, and stay safe in the old Czech Republic. So thanks for coming on, guys. I'll sign off now, and so I'm going to give you 10 seconds. If you need a question, if you have a question, not need, if you have a question, I'll answer it. You have literally got less than 2.5 minutes left. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Yeah, see you guys later. Take care of yourselves.